Hello everybody, I finally managed to find a track which is open. This one is doing deepest Hampshire. I've had to come out a bit for, but no fence around it, so it looks like I can just wander on and do a session. So, question is often asked is what shoes to wear. So I thought I'd start a little series. There's a bit of an adjunct to my shoe off test, not necessarily to test which is the best one, but what's the most appropriate shoe. So what I'm going to do is going to do 10 by 400 meters in 5 different shoes. I'll do 2 in each. So I'll start with a heavy trainer, move on to a carbon plated shoe, a traditional racing flat, and then a couple of track spikes, see which ones works best. So let's have a look at the shoes. So here they're all laid out in the back of my car. I'm going to start with the heaviest shoe, which is the NOVABLAST, which is top of just Ed Budd's poll that came out earlier today. And they're going to move, so that's also the heaviest shoe, about 340 grams in my size 13. I'm then going to move on to the Alphaflys, which are probably the most talked about carbon plated shoe at the moment. These are about 300 grams in my size. I haven't been getting on with them that well so far, but we'll give them a go. Now the Adios ones, these are the ones that I traditionally have worn for my track sessions for a long time. And they're sort of more traditional racing flats, so they come in at about 265 grams, something like that in my size. I'm then going to move on to a new shoe that I've got, which is a rather exciting one for me. Now this is actually a version of the Nike Streak LT4. See, these shoes look pretty much the same, apart from a slightly different colorway, but the difference is that this is a spike flat, so it's actually got a spike plate on the back, and this one is just basically the flat version. Now I weighed these two and they're almost identical. I think the only difference is the weight of the spike. So these are coming in at about 195 grams, both of them. So definitely a lot. I mean, they're getting on for half the weight of the NOVABLAST. And then I'll finish off with some traditional track spikes. These are the Zoom Matumbo 3s. I think these are sort of a middle distance spike up to about 5-10k. I haven't actually worn these ones either yet, so I'll see how the legs go. But these come in at a real featherweight, 145 grams, something like that. So I'll get a warm-up done. I've got on the SL20s, which are Ed Budd's favourite shoes in his own poll. Okay, warm-up done in the SL20s. That was quite a nice 7:14 mile, I think, for 4 laps and a bit. So now I've put on the NOVABLAST, which instantly feel a lot more clumpy. They're quite a wide shoe for me, actually. So this is going to be almost like what in terms of what shoe to wear. This is probably the one that I feel is the worst for this type of session. So we'll do a few strides in this just to see how we go. Okay, so 4 strides done in the NOVABLAST. They're very squidgy, perhaps a bit too squishy for a track, which is already quite soft anyway. But we'll see how hard we can hit these 4s. I won't cane these first ones. I think I'll do 2 at a time with a minute's rest. So I normally do a session of 10 by 400 with a minute's rest. And obviously I have to have longer between sets to change shoes and stuff. But I'll aim for about 80-82 a lap, I think. See how we go with that. Okay, so NOVABLAST's done. 2 79s, I think, there for 400 meters with a minute's rest between. Not too bad. I felt a bit stiff on those though, but so hopefully I'll warm up a bit. Not exactly the best shoes for that sort of run, but probably better than I thought, actually. Nice and springy off the track. You do feel a bit of the weight on them, but not quite as bad as say the Pegasus 37 or the Zoom Fly 3 with all that React foam that I've been using of late. So now into the most expensive shoes on test, Nike Alphaflys here. So we'll do the same again, 2 400s with a minute's rest in these, see where we go. Okay. So the Alphafly run's done. You definitely feel the huge sack height in these. Not bad for the track, actually, having said that. Not bad around the corners, better than I thought it would be. I think that was 2 77s. Whether that was easier than the NOVABLAST, I'm not sure. Maybe that's just about being a bit better warmed up. Maybe I was trying slightly harder. But yeah, not too bad. We're now getting to the increasingly lighter shoes. The next one up will be the Adios 5, which is one I traditionally would have worn, or these previous versions of it, in track sessions, probably best part of the last 10 years, I think. Okay, let's see how we go in those. So the 2 laps in the Adios 5 done. I think the first lap I was perhaps coasting a bit too much. I only did a 80. Second lap I tried a bit harder, I thought, and put in a 77, which is similar to the Alphaflys. I felt initially like I was going a lot faster on the first lap, maybe full sense of security from the much lower stack height, feeling that you're feeling the track a lot more. So interesting. So in that sense, not much in it between the Adios 5 and the Alphafly. If anything, the Alphafly was probably better at my speed these days. But I was going a lot faster. I think my record for 10.4s with a minute recovery is 64 seconds average. Obviously, I think I struggled to do one of them, but anywhere close to 64 these days. So interesting test. So now we get into the spikes. First of all, the Nike track spikes, sometimes called Splats. First time I run in these, I'm very curious to see how they get on with them. Okay, the track flat's done. I think there were 276s. I could certainly feel the track a lot more there, certainly on the toe off. Couldn't really feel the actual heel so much. There's a bit of a built-up heel, but if you don't really heel strike, say on a track, it's almost a bit redundant to a certain extent. I think it may have slightly too long spikes on for the track. I think they come with sort of cross-country hybrid spikes. They're more like sort of 8, 9s and 6s. So I think next time I run in these on track, I think I'll swap them out for some needle spikes. Right, the next one and the last one is the Matumbo 3s, the out-and-out track spikes. By far the lightest here. These are basically half the weight of the Alphafly, and I think they come in at 143, 144 grams. I measured them before I set off. And you compare that to, say, 360 for the Pegasus 37s or 340 for what I started for the NOVABLAST. That's a hell of a lot of weight to not carry around with you, isn't it? Let's see how we go on this last one anyway. Right, just about to start the Zoom Matumbo 3s. It's the first time I've worn these spikes. Now, if you think, how do they save weight in track spikes? So they get rid of the Achilles tab altogether, have a nice little hole. In fact, it's interesting because you can see that they you don't actually get your heel right back to the back of the shoe in this, so they don't actually feel quite slightly smaller track spikes. So I've got a 13 here, which is my normal Nike size. But I think normally in track spikes you probably wear socks, especially for an 8 or 15. But I've won't be like a triathlete today, and I've got my socks on still, and I'll give these a go. Right, let's see what we feel. Okay, session done, 10th and final 400. So I ended up running the 2 fastest laps, I think. Well, certainly the last lap was the fastest with the 74. First one was 76, we kind of equaled a few of the other ones. Well, I think I was trying more on the last one, so I could certainly feel the ground a lot more in these. And I think, as I was saying, with the fact you can't get your heel right back of the shoe, actually, if anything, felt slightly small. So I think it's probably a shoe to be designed to be worn without any socks for best effect, because you certainly don't need extra weight. And I think the laces are quite big as well, so I might save a few grams by cutting them back and having no socks. So I could take that 144 weight down to about 140 maybe. But yeah, an interesting session. So what shoes would you wear? Well, to a certain extent, it depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to run a 1 lap flat out 400, then there's no question obviously that you're going to take a track spike. If you're wanting to do a more sort of controlled session where you're running sort of 800 meter reps, 1600 meter reps with lots of them, more like a sort of 10k session, it make far more sense to wear a trainer, and something like the Next Percent or the Alphafly or even the NOVABLAST might work well if you want to save your legs. I think the Adios is that one in the middle really. I think that's sort of like for your middle distance sessions, maybe like a sort of a 3k session when you want to get some speed up, feel a bit of spring in your legs, feel the ground a bit like a track, but don't want the harsh reality of the track spikes. Because the problem with the track spikes is that it's fine when you do 2 laps with a little rest between. When you start looking at 1k reps or so on the track, but your poor old Achilles are going to really feel it, and you just don't really get the benefit when you're running sort of slowly. Well, I'm running very slowly these days anyway, but I mean, back in the old days, that session there, my last one was 74. That's not even my 3k PB. In fact, it's not even my is it my 5k? It's around about my 5k time, and that sort of felt like I was trying pretty hard there. whereas in the old days I would have been coasting at that speed. So I think the faster, better runner you are, the more you're going to value these sort of low to the ground, lightweight track spikes. If you're not quite so fast, or if you want to save your legs for another day, then certainly a bit of cushioning with a bit of responsiveness under your foot is good. So in terms of what shoes to wear, well, probably any of them really. Depends on what you want to do and how you feel on the day. So, hope you found that interesting, and look forward to seeing the next one. Okay, bye.